Hi friend, today we're going to teach you on how to set up MySQL Cluster, or known today as MySQL NDB Cluster 8.0. And for this tutorial, we are going to use Ubuntu Server 18.04 in DigitalOcean. So what is MySQL Cluster? It is a replication of database for multiple server, or what they call clusters. The difference between the original master-slave replication is it has a database management that takes care of data consistency and has a fail-safe features in case the other cluster is not available. It is good for people who wants to set up a load balancing and want their database to be readily available to the local host without accessing the database to the network. Since it is in the local host, it is fast and less latency, but of course, it still depends on how you set up the MySQL cluster. So in this illustration, we have 3 separate servers. The first 2 servers here contains our data node, which primarily contains the cluster data, the MySQL API, our MySQL server, and the web app for your website. It could be PHP, Python, Laravel, etc. The other server here is the NDB management. That's basically manage the data cluster. It takes care the data consistency to avoid brain split, missing data, and all sorts of problems of the previous MySQL master-slave replication. Go back to the first server. This data node here can communicate MySQL API in the local host on the same server. It can also communicate back to the NDB management for any data consistency, as well as the data node here can access the other server in the cluster data nodes. It can also access the other MySQL here back and forth. Same thing here, can also access back and forth. So that's how MySQL cluster works. They replicate data if any changes happens. In case the server 2 is down, this cluster here will still work without the needs of the other server. That's how failsafe works in MySQL cluster. Even the NDB management is down, this server here still works. This is good for load balancing. So if you have a load balance feature, your load balancer will still work if you have one available server, even the other server is down. So in case the NDB management and the other node is back online, the NDB management will replicate the data on the cluster, and if they found any inconsistency in data, the NDB management will fix it. So that's how cool is the MySQL cluster. It is a fail-safe proof form of a database, which is very good for load balancing. We also have other setup aside from this. This setup is we separate the data node from the MySQL API, but the disadvantages with this setup is the MySQL API will access data node in the network, not in the local host. But this is still good if you want to free some memory for MySQL API and data nodes. So if you have a big budget, you can use this type of setup. But for this tutorial, we are going to use this one, which access the data node in localhost.